think that there is a lot that people can bring with that extra experience, and you shouldn't, older people shouldn't sell themselves short in that respect. And but there's a lot that we can also learn from our younger colleagues, and I think that's what makes a very rich environment.
Okay, anybody else like to ask a question?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Elizabeth.
We've got Sarah would like to say something.
Sarah.
Hi there. Hi. It's been a really interesting discussion this morning. A couple of things that I'd just like to throw into the pot really here. And we've been talking about returners, and we've been talking about age and ageism. And I don't think the two are necessarily the same. I'm 61 on Thursday. I have over 40 years experience in communications, have held very senior roles. Every job that I've applied for in the last 6 months or so, I don't get a response to. I've had interviews for maternity cover roles, and you turn up and you find that, of course, the person you're going to be covering for is probably in their 30s, which, maternity cover is, a definition of, isn't it? And I think there are a number of challenges here that perhaps are not being addressed, and that if we want to get older people back into the workforce, or even to remain in the workforce, and I'm actually now thinking about taking a different route, is that younger people, whether they're 30 or 40, do find it a little bit intimidating sometimes to have someone working for them that's older, because they feel maybe they're threatened, or they want their job or whatever. I don't want anybody else's job. I just want to do a good job. But I think younger people do find it intimidating. And the second thing, of course, is that when you're recruiting people, it's actually cheaper to recruit someone who's less experienced. So there is a financial factor, I think, attached to it. And even if if you're prepared to work for the salary that's going with the role, unfortunately, that doesn't always solve the problem, because they say, well, you're too experienced or whatever. So I think, for me, there is a fundamental issue around ageism, in not just in this within the communication sector, but generically. And it really winds me up when there are diversity boxes and inclusion boxes to fill. Are you this? Are you that? Are you the other? And are you an age? Because I think actually age is something which should be included within diversity and inclusion, and not a box to actually filter you out by. And I do think there needs to be a really positive, fundamental change in educating people that if you want people who are in their 60s to work for any business, you need to have a fundamental understanding among the younger generations, and educate them within businesses that there are wise people who can help and nurture and support them, as well as do bloody good jobs. And that's my view on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we're all nodding here. I think we're agreeing with everything that you're saying there. I think we did have some piece of feedback as part of this, whereby somebody had said that I don't want to be working for someone who looks like my mum. So, discrimination is alive and well in this area. Tricia was also talking about the importance of ageism being, the last bastion of the protected characteristics. This important part around, for the first time you were talking, Juliet, this is the first time we've got 5 generations in the workplace. The importance of the fact that many people joining organisations during COVID, possibly mainly younger people, have not been coming together and being supported with other people. So the idea of the older returner can be providing some of that coaching support in the workplace is something that we really shouldn't underestimate.
I'd just like to chip in. I do think things are changing. So one of the clients I work for is 55 Redefined, the UK champion of older workers, and they're working, literally every other week they bring on board another big organisation who have gone for age accreditation. Things are changing. They also have a jobs board called Jobs Redefined, where you can find a lot of roles that are suited for people over 50. And there's a lot of information about return on experience as well, and a lot of research. So it's worth checking in. And I do think things are changing. I think ageism is sort of, of all the inclusion criteria, it is perhaps the most neglected. But I think the government realises now that needs to change, and I think it will from now on become easier.
The message to person who's speaking is first of all not to give up. I think more organisations are thinking really hard about what an inclusive workplace looks like. I think the work we partnered with the Centre for Ageing
organisation to then advise the kids on our website for recruiters.
And I think, we talked a little bit here about an older employee can provide coaching, etc. But actually, I think we're missing the point a little bit. What comes with age and experience is you have a different lived experience. And in the same way that you employ people with diversity, because they have that different lived experience and they can join the dots in a different way. Somebody who has a longer lived experience does the same next, and you can see things differently. And if you're working in a collaborative environment, the more people with those different lived experiences, the more innovative, creative thinking you can have. And so when we look at our older people, and Sarah, you absolutely mustn't give up because you're still very young. It should be from the case of what are the skills that we can bring. And I think when we sell ourselves, we should be selling, sell yourself on that ability to connect the dots, to bring a different perspective, to have the knowledge of having worked with multiple different age groups and multiple different people and different work scenarios, because that's what's going to help you in today's workplace. Today's workplace is not the same as it used to be. It's not predictable. It's not, you have to be incredibly adaptable. You have to be incredibly resilient. And I think that there is a lot that people can bring with that extra experience, and you shouldn't, older people shouldn't sell themselves short in that respect. And but there's a lot that we can also learn from our younger colleagues. And I think that's what makes a very rich environment.